Good afternoon. You know what time it is? It's coffee time. That's right, with author Michael Sanchez. How's everyone doing today? It's been a beautiful Thursday. A little on the chilly side, like high 60s. Not too bad. I think in some spots hit 70, but that's not bad. That is not bad. I'll take that. It's supposed to be getting warmer the next couple of days. So, yeah, we're going to get spoiled for a little bit. Let's take advantage of it because those temperatures going to drop again. Anyway, hello everyone. Hope everybody's doing okay on this Thursday. One more day for the weekend. To me, I would say it's exciting, but it's not because I have worked weekends, those 12-hour shifts. But it is what it is. You got to pay the bills. Today, I got Empaths and Mediums Part 2. We had Empaths and Mediums last week with my good friend Eva Bielby and Lorraine Carey, who were here to chat about the topic, which is very interesting. It kind of spooked me out, but it was interesting. They know their stuff, so I want to bring them in here and see if they can talk a little bit more about it, expand on the topic, which is creepy for those who don't understand it, and interesting for those who follow it. Again, it's an interesting topic, especially you follow that kind of thing. It's kind of cool. It is cool. It is new to me, that's for sure. Some of it I understand, some of it I don't. But Lorraine and Eva always, they try their best to explain it and even tell stories they've encountered and whatnot, experiences they've encountered, which is sort of cool. Again, if you like that kind of thing. So if you see, we can bring, we got, looks like Eva, we can bring Eva in here and go from there.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Eva, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Michael.
So,
Yourself?
I'm fine. It's been a nice day, nice and quiet. Just chilling out, getting my body and my mind prepared for tomorrow, the weekend, because I work weekends. So yeah,
Uh-huh. Oh,
how that goes. Yeah,
we've
yeah.
had a fair bit of rain here the last few days.
Oh yeah, what's up with that? So a front you guys are getting over there?
Oh, well, I don't know, but I've seen quite a few weather forecasts saying that the weather forecasters are expecting quite a decent sized dump of snow all over the UK,
Whoa.
probably starting at the weekend. And I can certainly do without that.
Now, what is the highest amount you've ever experienced in your neck of the woods?
Oh, well, I would say I don't, over the last few years, I don't recall us getting any sizable amount of snow.
Uh-huh.
Um, I know I don't know, when I was a kid, the snow used to come and it seemed to last for the whole winter.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. You know what? I
Um,
remember those days. We had, of course, the blizzard of '78 that I could remember the most. When I was a kid, the snow was covering my head. That's how it was
uh-huh.
back in my day in New Jersey. There's been other blizzards that we had, but that's the one that sticks out the most.
Well, about, I would say maybe about 10 years ago, uh, might even be a little bit longer than that. We had, not that it lasted all winter, it lasted about a week, and there was record lows of minus 19 degrees centigrade, and that is damn cold for the UK.
See, see, for us, you and I, we're going to get blasted at one time or another. You're going to get it sooner than we are here in South Carolina. But see, our friend over there, Lorraine, Lala, she's got the heat, she's got the sun hitting on her, so she's all right over there in Florida. You know what I mean? And she's gonna brag about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm so I'm
she's,
envious. I'm quite envious.
she's gonna get on my kids about that. She's
I
spoiled
mean,
away.
I had a, sorry.
They get 50 degrees, and it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? So, she gets if it hits the 39 degrees, oh my God, it's oblivion. It's over. The world is over.
I remember going on holiday to Florida for a fortnight when my kids were, I think they were aged about 9 and 11, and the heat in Florida was just amazing. But I do recall we had a thunderstorm every day.
Yes,
It
at
only
around the
lasted
same
about
time, right?
10 minutes and then it was over and the streets were steaming.
Was it around the same time?
Sorry?
When I moved to Florida, I noticed that it always rained around the same time. It was always like 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Always.
right.
It
Um,
was ridiculous.
no, it seemed to be different times of the day.
Really, really. You can see that one cloud just hovering above you. You can,
Oh, yeah, definitely. One black cloud and thunder and lightning, and
yeah,
as you
yeah,
say,
yeah. One cloud, and you're like, why is that cloud just hanging over like that? And I see the
uh,
rain, but everything else is
yeah,
dry. That's so
yeah.
weird.
I recall being at Wet and Wild one day,
Right,
and at Wet and Wild they had this. Well, it wasn't a ride; it was a slide, and it was very high and very steep drop for the first 20 feet or something. And
right.
every time there was any lightning in the area, they used to close that ride down.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we've talked. Me and myself and Lorraine have talked about. Florida's a lightning capital of the world. The last thing you want to do is get zapped. Because you're having fun in the water.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. But Wet and Wild,
So,
terrific place.
so today we're going to be talking about, or you and Lorraine, will be talking about empaths and mediums. Follow up on last week's show, which I found very interesting. Y'all gave me the creeps, though. I mean, after the show, you know what I mean. I was feeling
Uh-huh.
things, and I thought I saw some things, but you know, never mind that. So, if you will, if you want to start it off with either topic, either impact or the medium part, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I started last week, so can Lorraine start us off this week?
All right, let's see if we can get Lorraine in here. Let's see, Lorraine.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? It seems that this is your turn now.
Well, I still have this cold,
Uh,
so it's just hanging on. So, pardon my voice, everybody, if I kind of sound a bit craggy. But anyway, last time I kind of talked about the definition of empaths and the different types of empaths. Well, I have two. I'm going to share two stories this afternoon.
okay.
And hopefully, Michael, you won't get the heebie jeebies after that. I'm going
Okay.
to keep it low key. Okay. So, my husband and I, we lived on Grand Cayman for 9 years. And when you're on an island, you are surrounded by water. And, Eva will attest to this, being a medium. Water is energy.
Yes.
And that will
It is
attract things
absolutely.
like magnets, right, Eva?
Yeah, absolutely, Lorraine.
And let me tell you, some crazy stuff happens there. I mean, there's a lot of, I love urban legends. I love to go sit, talk with the locals, especially the fishermen. Oh my God, the tales they've got to tell. But anyway, yeah, some strange things, kind of happened when I was there, which, no surprise. But you know, empaths, people, I'm going to say, they will seek you out to do their bidding. So that's kind of where I'm headed right now. There was, Cayman is, I forget how many miles. It's very narrow. I mean, you could circle the island in an hour in your car. That's how small it is. But anyway, they had a dump, and you have to burn things because you couldn't bury things on the island because I don't know if it's like made of coral or sand, but you just couldn't bury anything. So they would burn things. So there was a murder, and a lady that worked at the dump had gotten murdered during the time we were there. So anyway, the investigation was going on, and you hear about it on the news. Who, she had 2 children, blah blah blah. So anyway, it was probably we were renting. We rented a lot of condos when we were there. We didn't buy a home; we rented. So we were renting a condo, and at night when I would go to bed, and there was nobody upstairs. It was like one level, one floor, one flat, and I could hear. It sounded like somebody was dropping marbles on the roof. And I'd say to my husband, "Do you hear that?" No, I don't hear that. And I drift off to sleep. And it kept happening. And I would get up, and someone lived next door. The owner lived next door because it was a duplex. And I even asked her, and she says, "I'm not dropping anything." So lo and behold, during that time, I had tuned into a paranormal show that had a medium, psychic medium, and she was taking calls. So luckily, she answered my call, and I confided in her, and I told her about this weird sound, and she said, "Someone's trying to channel you. There is a message. Someone is dropping those. They want you to be alert. It's a woman and we don't know whether it was the lady, I forget her name, that got murdered at the dump, or just somebody, but she said, this is the information that I'm going to pass to you." So she told me the man that murdered her, his name was, I'll never forget, his name was Andrew, and he had a very large tattoo of a snake on his right arm, like on the bicep. And then he had thrown her body in the bushes. And I don't know how she knew that because I don't know where she was, but that's exactly where they found the body. And she said, "You need to do something with this information." And I'm like, "Well, what am I going to do with it? I don't know. I don't know the family, blah, blah, blah." So she said, "You might think about going to the police." So I talked to my husband about it. And, we live we're called expats. That's what you're called. There's a lot of expats on the island. And when you're an expat, let me just say this. There's certain boundaries and there's certain borders that you don't push, if you know what I mean. And my husband said, you're going to go to the police. And it's a very Christian island, by the way. And are they going to believe you? Are you going to sit down? Are they going to talk to you? So I didn't know what to do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to write all this information down that she told me. So I drove down to the police station. I go in. I asked to talk to one of the investigators on the case. And I said, "Here's an envelope. I want you to read what's inside." I said, "Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you." And I said, "What you do with it, it's up to you." But I said, I'm just passing it along. I said, the information was given to me. So, I don't know what happened. I mean, the investigation was going on and on. I don't know if they ever found the guy. But like I said, this was really strange that she gave me. She said, this lady wants you to have information. So I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they thought, the police thought I was a Looney Tune, but I did what I was, because, I was always told if you get information, you need to pass it on to that person. Eva, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. I totally agree, Lorraine.
I mean, it was really strange. Okay, so then a year later, there was a fire that got out of control at the dump. A year later, there was another fire that got out of control. So then there were rumors going around that the dump, that there was like like a curse, you know, and people started to believe it. And you could kind of see the dump from one of the main roads. It was like actually looked like a mountain because, you know, they pile everything up. And I tell you, every time I drove by that dump, I got the weirdest feeling. Kind of wanted to stay away from it, you know? It was really strange.
So
Yeah, I think I would
one.
have wanted to stay away as well, Lorraine.
So what
Yeah,
was this sound on the roof? Do you ever get an answer regarding that?
it went away. After, you know what? After I shared my information, never heard the sound again. Isn't that strange?
Wow. Wow.
Now the fires that you're talking about, do you think it had to do with bodies being burned or anything like
I
that?
do.
There's a strange smell. Did you get that?
I didn't really get a smell. Well, I no, I take that back. When you drove down the main road, you know, there was all kind of smoke. Yeah, you could smell like a smoky smell, you know, but
Burning flesh is it's one that you'll never forget. So
oh, I
you didn't
guess
get that.
so. But you know, I mean, not just at the dump, but during the time we were there was a teacher that went missing on the beach. They never found his body.
Hmm.
And there was a nurse that went missing and they never found her. But you know, when you live on an island and you dump that body out to sea, there you go. I mean, there was a lot of strange things that went on. Some of them were nefarious, but
Interesting.
you know, a lot of stuff was swept under the rug because you got to remember their only industry was tourism. They don't make
Yep.
anything there.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
Now,
you have to protect what you have. So, which is going to lead me into the next story. Okay. So we moved again to another condo. And this one was like right on the beach. You could walk out and you're like right on the sand. And you know, you meet people. I started to meet because it had a little private beach, started to meet the people that lived there. And they were telling me about this lady who lived there long term. She actually was an American, but they were telling me she was crazy to kind of steer clear of her. Well, lo and behold, she finds me. Of course, they seek you out, right, to do their bidding.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew who she was, but she comes to my condo one day. She goes, I really need your help. I need to talk to you. Nobody believes me. The police have been here. I've talked to, you know, different people on the island. And she had claimed that somebody was coming into the condo at night and physically attacking her. And
physically how?
yeah, and
Physically
I don't
how?
even want to, and she, you know, and I don't want to say the R word,
Gotcha, gotcha,
but
gotcha.
that was involved. And she said, you know, she was on the verge of having a breakdown. She had gone to the doctor and she felt that I would believe her. So, you
Hmm.
know, being an empath, you know, yeah, you're going to listen because, you know, stuff like this is possible. And maybe the people there, you know, they didn't believe her. They thought she was a Looney Tune. So she comes down the next night. She goes, I want you to come to my condo. And so I went, you know me, not maybe a little bit of curiosity. You know, curiosity killed the cat too. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Certainly did.
kind of concerned for her welfare as well, you know. So I go into her condo and she starts showing me things like where there's marks on the walls and, you know, how the bed was She said she was sleeping on the couch because she was afraid to go to the bed because she was being attacked in bed. And I got the feeling there was definitely evil there. Definitely. Most definitely. And I told her what I felt. And anyway, she said, the police had done a report and there was no sign of, entry. Nothing was taken. So anyway, like I said, she was an American. She was living there long term. She ended up going back to the States because I guess it just, it totally like just destroyed her, that nobody would believe her.
Now, this place, is anybody else living in there, or that you know
I
of?
believe they tore it down because they were going to build, they were older condos. And I believe they were going to build new ones. They were called Island Pines. So I believe they tore it down. Anyway, one of the legends was that there was, we all know what a succubus is. Do you know what a succubus is, Michael?
I've heard of it.
Eva, you know what it is, don't you?
Yeah, I think you explained it to me a couple of months ago, Lorraine.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I felt was attacking her at night.
Huh.
And there is legend that there was a succubus and sirens. We don't, there's a lot of shipwrecks. Grand Cayman wrecks ships because there's a big reef out there, and there's some famous shipwrecks that have crashed into the reef. But legend says, or urban legend says, that some of these were sirens.
Yeah, I was
They
going to ask you,
lure.
because you mentioned the fishermen, so they've seen mermaids, eh?
Yeah, they would lure fishermen to their death, and sailors, and take their soul.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of, if you sit down, listen to some of the old fishermen, they tell this tale. So that was going around. Well, anyway, one one other little short story I'll tell you all. Living in that same condo complex, and this was after the lady went back to the States. There was a young Italian lady there, and she married a Jamaican, and he got status. And when you get status, that means like you get Canadian status. You get the heritage. So anyway, she had a baby, okay? And she wanted the baby, of course, to have status because daddy had, now she was Italian, but the dad had status and she wanted the baby to have status. Well, she had gone to see certain people. She had gone to the government, and, it's a big to do. If you're an expat, you have to jump through so many hoops if you want to get, citizenship. Well, lo and behold, guess who she comes to find? Yours truly. So I listened to her story and, yada, yada, yada. And we become friends. And she tells me about her husband and the baby and all this. And I, end up watching the baby while she goes to see certain officials trying to get status with not much luck. So finally, she gets an appointment with a immigration lawyer. And my husband goes, you really need to be careful what you're getting involved with, because I'll tell you, being an expat, if you do any dirty deeds on that island, you have 48 hours to get off the island.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because
Wow.
they don't want any, you're not a citizen, you're not a native, you break the
Gotcha.
rule, you break the law, you're gone. So, my husband said, you better be careful. I backed out, and then she talked me into going, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I, why do I get involved in this stuff? So we go to the lawyer. It was a woman lawyer. She was an immigration lawyer. And she's telling her that there's a really slim chance to none that the baby's going to get status. So the woman looks to me, and this woman starts to question me. She goes, and what about your behavior? I mean, I'm like, I was about ready to fall out of my chair. I'm like, now they're talking about my behavior? So I started getting scared. And she said, you're an expat. And I think we had maybe 4 or 5 more years left on the island. She said, are you minding your business? And I'm like, I'm really freaking out. So after that, I just told the woman, I said, I can't have anything to do with this. I don't want, I've got to protect my citizen, my status there as well. But anyway, the weird thing happened is the man, he went back to Jamaica for quite a long time, and she was there by herself with a baby. And then he came back. And then the lady and the baby, he took them somewhere. And I don't know if he took them back to Jamaica, but I never saw them again. I mean, it was just very, very strange. But it just shows you how being an empath, people will use you, even if it involves you getting your own self in danger. Do you know what I mean?
You're a magnet.
I do.
Sure.
And,
And
I should have set my boundaries, and it wasn't until I realized, oh my God, what am I getting into? I could get myself in trouble.
So you're definitely a magnet. I mean,
I am a
is it
magnet. I'm still a
is it some
magnet.
kind of something that's pushing you towards these people,
It
or
does.
what?
It feels like, it's almost like okay, like you're compelled, like, oh my God, I have to help this person. This is my mission. But then when you realize you're in danger yourself, you back out. That's why I
Right.
said, I think the last time I talked to you guys, I had a few close friends that I had to totally go in the dark. I totally had to just, set my boundaries and leave them flat out
yeah,
because the energy, it was just killing me. It was killing
yeah,
me. And
I
even I
know
know
what
you
you're
can,
talking about, Lorraine.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Can't take
Yeah,
negative energy.
I tend to walk away from people who bring me down with
Yes.
negative talk.
Yeah, Ava and I have talked about that. We both can't take negative energy, but I have learned over the years to set boundaries. And like I said, now here in Florida, I had one instance with a friend, and was a good friend who I met. And again, she was using me to do her bidding with she was having an affair with a married man out here. And she got me involved to go to his house. See, it's like you're compelled, like these people hold you prisoner. It's crazy. So, and after I got into that situation, okay, I'm done, because this could really go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
But anyway, those are just stories that just show, how an empath can get sucked into all this stuff.
yeah, absolutely. Lorraine, doesn't Grand Cayman have a bit of a reputation for witchcraft?
Some of it does. And okay, your expats, you have a lot of Jamaicans on the island. Well, you're talking
Uh-huh.
about voodoo. Yeah, voodoo.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The Caymans used to be Jamaica. And then, they are a UK offshore territory. They belong to
Yes.
the UK. So your expats on the island, you've got a lot of Jamaican, you've got some Filipino, you've got Canadians, you've got Cubans, you've got a lot of UK who they're on business. They do a lot, with the financial industry.
Yeah.
And so they're taking those jobs. And then so like I said, there's a lot of expats there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, there is some hoodoo. And my book that I wrote, Night Mistress of Paradise Palms.
Yes, I
Yes.
know the one
Well,
very well.
now you know what that's based on. Now you know where I got that story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Wow.
based on That's based on the story from the condo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you have to be invited me to the Caymans, that's for sure. Don't invite me there.
I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like living in paradise,
Yeah.
But it
Well,
has its,
fascinating stories, Lorraine.
See, they never tell you about that stuff. They just show you the nice parts.
it's beautiful. I mean, you talk about snorkeling. And when we got there, and you snorkel, it's like you feel like you're in an aquarium. I mean, it's just fish is just beautiful. I never did diving. My husband went. He was a diver. I was never into the deep sea diving. Snorkeling was about as much as I could take, but it was beautiful.
Uh,
Hmm. So, Eva, what you got, Eva?
right. Okay. So I don't know. Was it last week we touched on? Um, did I speak about my mum and what she was like with dreams? She was always predicting things
I
and
believe so.
things that would inevitably come true.
I don't
And this
remember
could,
that.
oh, right. Well, yes, mum was very good at um, telling us all about her dreams. And it could be to do with a story to do with the neighbour. It could be something that's going to happen in the town, or it could be some major news item. But mum and her dreams were very good reputation for predictive dreams.
Wow.
So anyway, now I'm going to go back to when I was 15. So I was one morning getting ready to go to school, and mum was sat there having a cup of tea, and she said, "Do you know?" She said, "I had the weirdest dream last night about you." I said, "All right." She said, "You had twin babies, and you had them both laid on the rug, changing their nappies. Now, we call them nappies in the UK, you call
Right.
them diapers instead.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was knelt on the rug, changing the nappies, diapers of these babies. And she said, but I couldn't understand why. She said, but you were crying. You were crying, and I couldn't understand why you were crying when you had two beautiful babies. And me being 15 years old, I said, bloody hell, mum, I'm 15. Give me a break.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
she said, no, I'm just telling you what my dream was about. Okay, okay.
Bloody hell.
And now I'm going to jump forward 14 years. And um, this will bring me up to the time where I started getting interested in the spirit world. So, jump forward 14 years, and I have a 20-month-old baby boy and a 10-week-old baby girl.
Oh my.
And I, I mean, my boy wasn't potty trained, so I always used to change both diapers at the same time.
Aw.
So I had them laid on the rug, changing the diapers, and there was a knock on my back door. And I thought, oh, okay. So basically, I'd just taken the soiled diapers off, and I hadn't got around to putting the clean ones on. So I went to see who was knocking on the back door, and it was my dad stood with our family doctor, and they were bringing news that my mum had just died.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Right, mum had been in hospital, and she'd had 2 days previous to this,
Uh-huh.
she had a small tumour removed from her bowel.
Oh,
And anyway, when we went in to see her in the hospital the night after the operation, we had a word with the consultant, and he said that the operation had been a great success. They removed a small tumour and the surrounding tissue, and basically, mum was going to be fine.
Hmm.
Anyway, so this was 2 days later, and a blood clot had got to her lung. So, so mum died. So well, the doctors then were very different, and we had a lovely family doctor, and he would not have passed that information on over the telephone. So he actually called round at Dad's house, Mum and Dad's house, to tell him in person. And Dad was so distraught, so he'd said, "Oh, Doctor, could you take me around to my daughter's house?" So anyway, they both came in, the doctor and Dad, and so I was then sorting the kids' diapers out, crying my eyes out. Okay, so, but now the thing is, yes, there weren't twins, but it was still two babies,
yep.
Yeah.
changing diapers and finishing off crying my eyes out.
That's one.
Wow. So,
Oh,
yeah, that was, wow.
I have
But,
goosebumps now.
Yeah, wow.
but I'm also going to throw something else into the mix and tell me what you think. Because before I had my son and my daughter, the 2 years previous, in 1979 and 1980, I went through two stillbirths.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Two baby girls. As I say, not
Oh.
twins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anyway, the problem that I had sorted itself out. But so, Mum's original dream when I was 15, could it have been me crying because I had two stillbirths and lost baby girls? Or was she predicting my circumstances when I was to hear about her death?
I would
Interesting.
say the latter.
That's the one that
That's what
I've always
resonates with
sort of
me.
leaned towards.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Um, so yes, so that that was one of, and honestly, when, because at the time Mum died, I didn't give any thought to the dream,
Uh-huh.
and then I was laid in bed that night, and it came to me, oh my God, changing two babies' diapers on the rug,
Yeah.
crying my eyes out.
Aw,
This must have been Mum's dream.
yes. And sometimes it hits you later. You know, it takes a while.
Exactly.
It hits you
Yeah,
later, and oh, that's what it meant.
absolutely.
Oh, Ava, that's a sad story.
Yeah, that's
It's a
pretty.
long time ago now, Rick.
Yeah,
It's a long time ago. I mean, at the time, it was very, very hard.
I would imagine.
Um, I've even got um, on my front, just under my shoulder blade, on my left-hand side,
Mm-hmm.
shoulder at the front, not that. I have got 2 white doves in flight,
Oh.
which that's a tattoo which represents my 2 baby girls.
Oh.
Because doves represent peace.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They are
so
at
that's why I
peace.
had
They
that's
are at
why I had
peace.
that. Yeah,
Without a doubt.
definitely. So yes, that brought me up to Mum's death, and it was then that my neighbour um, gave me um, the book about the medium Doris Stokes,
Mm-hmm.
which I mentioned before, and you haven't heard of her, but she was a quite a well-known around the world medium, and she wrote 6 books, and it was it was after Mum died, and honestly, with the business, with the dream, and one thing and another, um, that is why she lent me the book, and that was the first time I started being quite open towards the spirit world and wanting to know more about it. Um, and as I explained, I'd gone to various um, evenings of mediumship, seeing different mediums, but there was never a message. And then that arrives us at last week's discussion when I said I had a one-to-one with this guy who was a medium, and he told me lots and lots of things that Mum was telling him, and it was Mum that was saying that I had to learn to open my mind, open my heart, because I could do this too. And so that is what drove me towards my first workshop in mediumship. So I don't know if you remember that conversation from last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Um, are you
Have
still
you had
there?
other messages from your mom? Any other signs from her?
From my mum.
Yes.
Oh, right. From there on, right. Okay. My son, when he was 20 months when Mum died, and he'd spent a lot of time with Mum because she would make any excuse she could to have him for the day, you know. I'll
Oh.
have him for the day, and you go off and do your housework, or I'll have him for the day, and you go out shopping, or any excuse she could think of, she would have him for the day. And so, Stuart was just sort of learning to talk, and he would get up in the morning and it was like, see Nana today. Um, anyway, so I thought, how do you tell a child that young that they're not going to see Nana ever again? And I thought, keep it simple, keep it simple. Kids need it simple. So I said to him, right, um, not going to see Nana ever again. I said, Nana's died. And he just looked at me and he took it on board and he stopped mentioning her. Right. And now, 6 months later, um, I had both children ill. Um, my little girl had sickness and diarrhea, but Stuart was worse. He had gastroenteritis.
Ugh.
So he had to go into hospital. And my husband had just started a new job. He couldn't have any time off to help me with all this.
Right.
So um, my next door neighbour helped me, and she would have my little girl for a couple of hours so that I had time to go to the hospital to visit my son. So anyway, I went in with him when he was admitted, stayed a couple of hours, and then came back home to see to my little girl.
Mhm.
And then after 3 or 4 more hours, went back to see him again. So the first time after I'd left him on his own in the hospital, and he was in a side ward in a room on his own. And I walked in, and he gave me a big smile, and he says, "Nana's been." And I,
Aw.
"What? Nana's been?" And I said, "Oh, okay. Where was she?" And he pointed to the chair. I was
Mhm.
sat on his bed, and he pointed to the chair. "Sit there, sitting there."
Aw.
"Oh, okay." And honestly, this is how it went on for a week while he was in there. Every time I left him to come back home to see to my little girl, and I went back again, Nana's been, Nana's been. Every time I left him, Nana was there with him.
I think that's awesome. She had to be with her grandson.
Absolutely. And do you know what?
Aw.
When he came out of hospital, he never mentioned her again.
Oh my. Oh, you're gonna make me cry, Ava.
Oh, honestly, Lorraine, it was,
Oh.
I mean, I came back and I was telling everybody, anybody who would listen, friends, family, I was telling them all what had happened, and they were, "Oh my God."
Well, it's
And
totally believable. I mean, we're both grandmas, and I mean, if I had passed and
yeah,
our grandchild was in the hospital, if we could, we'd be there
oh yeah,
without a doubt.
absolutely,
That's awesome.
absolutely. And so, yes, and therefore, my interest in the spirit world got greater with everything that happened, really. And yeah, Michael, you've gone very quiet.
I'm listening. It's been some fascinating stories. I'm enjoying it. I got the Lady of Lakes there says I asked her that she believe in that, and yeah, she believes in it. Be nice. Maybe we could hear something from her real quick. I don't know if she could join us before the show's over. Let's see if we can get her in here. Let's see.
Yeah, I think I know her from either X or Blue Sky because I think we repost each other's posts.
Right.
Yeah, I think she's an
She's here.
author.
Let's see if we can get her in here.
Hmm.
Lady, I just invited you to see if you can get in here in the few minutes we got left. See if you can get in here. I just sent you an invite. Definitely some interesting stories. I'm going to be thinking of some of that, especially the one about the mother, that dream she had. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and how it came to fruition so many years later.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. She says she can't right now. Maybe she's still playing with the kitchen. Maybe she's cooking dinner there or whatnot, and she's keeping an eye on the food. So I can't blame her. You know what I mean? But no, Eva and Lala, you guys, some interesting stories. One, I'll make sure not to be traveling to the islands, you know, what I mean, because of stuff like and dreams like that. My mother's had dreams like that for many, many years, and she'll come up with some stuff, and you're like, sometimes you're like, nah, you know, and then years later it happens. It's like,
Yep.
whoa, I mean, that's
Absolutely,
so. Yeah, I believe in
absolutely.
that stuff. Yes. So, mhm. It does happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
premonitions. If you get a premonition, because in the other realm, there's the time. There's no time. So when you get a premonition, it could happen tomorrow. It could happen a year from now. Because in the other
Absolutely.
dimension, time is not measured.
Exactly. I mean,
That-
sometimes the dreams that Mum had, sometimes they would come true quite quickly. It could be days, weeks, months, but then there was other predictions um, that did take a few years. But I think the dream about me with the babies and crying, I mean, 14 years, I think that has to be the longest. But
Yes,
yeah, yeah, it does give you goosebumps. It gives me
it
goosebumps
does.
now when I think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Mm.
you guys, it's definitely been an interesting show, interesting stories, and who knows? Maybe we need to make a three, part
Yeah, that would be
Right.
three.
nice.
It
Would you like
would.
to do that? Would you like to do
Yeah.
that? You're down on that?
I'm in. I think that would be very, because like I told Michael, I think you're a dream empath. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm in as well. If Lorraine's in, I'm in.
All right. Okay.
We
So maybe
enjoy these, don't we, Lorraine?
we probably won't be able to do it next week because of the holiday. Maybe the week after that because I'm moving next week as well. So it's going to
well,
be
Right.
good luck with that, Michael.
next week. What is it? The week of Thanksgiving. That not next week, but the week before that. Or the week after that,
Well,
right?
we were supposed to fly to California and then fly to Arizona, but we canceled because we didn't want to get in the big mess. So we're
Yeah,
going to.
yeah.
Oh,
So
I
let's
enjoy it
say
talking.
not next week, but the week after that. We'll do another.
Sounds good. Sounds
Sounds good to
wonderful.
me.
Well, you guys are great, and thank you. I really appreciate your stories. They are awesome, and I'm sure the those folks out there that are listening in will will definitely think about that. Some great stories. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you,
Thank you for
Eva.
having us again,
And
Michael.
thanks to all the listeners. I hope everybody can fall asleep tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some nightmares. See what
Sweet
happens.
dreams, as they
I,
say.
Yeah.
yeah,
Sweet dreams.
sweet dreams.
Right, Eva?
All right, guys. You have a good one.
Good night, Lorraine. Good night,
Good night,
Michael.
Eva. Good night,
All right.
Michael. Have a good
Bye
evening,
bye.
Bye.
everyone.
Wow.
Bye bye.
Eva
Bye bye.
Bielby, Eva
Bye
Bielby, and
bye.
Lorraine Carey. There are stories here. Don't freak out. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. There are some great stories. Again, they empaths and mediums. They have those gifts. I mean, not everybody has it, and those that do, they just don't understand that they have it. They probably do. They just are afraid to let everybody else know because they don't want to appear to look like freaks out there. You know what I mean? But there's quite a few folks, quite a lot of folks out there that has those gifts, if you want to call them that are just afraid, and maybe they want to get answers, and maybe this is the place to get those answers from folks like Eva and Lorraine Carey. Anyway, it's been a great show. I want to thank everyone for listening in. Uh, Again, I want to thank Lorraine Carey and Eva Bielby, great friends there and authors. You follow their work on Amazon. You follow their work there. Great books, great stories. And also, yeah, I want to thank Lady of Lakes for joining us. Maybe next time she can tell us some stories that she knows about. I'd like to hear from her. But you got to feed her men, so it is what it is. Also, you can follow my work on Amazon. You can listen. You can read on paperback, and also you can listen on audio, narrated by Stephen P. Ham. He's a great narrator. Some great stories there. So, and I want to thank everyone for listening in. Please spread the word, share this podcast to everyone else, and I would appreciate it. Anyway, you know what I say. Don't forget your coffee and have a great after rest of this afternoon. Have a good one.